Ladies and gentlemen, you are now listening to the Talking Nonsense About Impact Wrestling podcast. Cross the line in 3, 2, 1.
Hello, my Impact faithful. My name is Geoff. This is the Talking Nonsense About Impact Wrestling podcast, episode 83. 83, that's crazy. On our way to 100, and it's been a fun journey. Hopefully, we see the chat lighting up tonight. Our lag seems to be pretty good tonight. It's smooth. So it's going to be a fun show and a lot to talk about. And as we have been alluding to, we will be talking depth charts today, which will be awesome to look at the Impact roster and beyond. But alongside me, as always, is the charismatic enigma to my cold-blooded Matt Hardy. It's Max.
I'll take that. I'll let you know if you're getting beat up. I'll definitely come save you and not just dance on the entranceway as you get your ass beat. Like,
oh shit, Geoff.
By the way, I do need to make 2, I guess, amendments or adjustments to things I said last week. First of all, I talked about replacing all the AEW belts with the ROH belts. Mm-hmm. Since they got the new women's title, I'll go ahead and rescind that. I like most of their belts. Now, they still need to get rid of TBS and TNT. The second thing I said is that I'm happy that Josh Alexander re-signed because he can now afford full-length pants. I was, in fact, corrected by someone close to Josh Alexander that they were full-length pants. But because he's got some big quads, he's got to buy the stretchy jeans. And when he came in and killed Moose with the C4 spike, the jeans rode up a little bit. So they were, in fact, full-length pants. Yeah. I do want to apologize to Josh for insinuating that he couldn't.
They might have been George Brand too, as we might have heard.
Possibly.
But yeah, she went Mrs. Randall on you.
Yeah. So.
No, just kidding. She's lovely. Hopefully this is not the clip that IO picks this week. All right, guys. Thank you for tuning in. We're excited to talk this week. It feels like forever, but numbers are what they are. We love you guys, one fan at a time, one friend at a time. You're loyal. We appreciate that. And as we love, we are here live on Twitch every Saturday night, currently 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. We'll talk about that in time. A little change up, we think. But our goal has always been to have as many Twitch viewers or followers, as we have episodes. And we are ahead of the curve here. So we're 84. And thank you to whoever that was. They send us the names all the time. And I know that's because of private, whatever. So if you don't want to uncheck the box, just pop up in here, tell me who it is, and peace out. And I'll shout you guys out. So Max... We got, hey, there's I. No, it's all good fun. So a lot to talk about, man. It's going to be our Sports Centery IW depth chart episode with a lot of cool things and news that came out. But what's exciting you this week before we get into all the YouTube comments and stuff?
In wrestling or just in the world in general?
Wrestling, preferably.
Okay. I'm excited just in general about Impact. I'm excited that next week. Forgot we're on a Saturday. I'm excited to see Beyblade, great name by the way, take on the Motor City Machine Guns. I'm excited about that.
I'm a cartoon character. Sorry,
and I'm excited that hopefully, should have happened last week, but hopefully, fingers crossed, Britt Baker will finally lose her title, because I'm pretty sure. I mean, there were people that agreed with me. Some of our own viewers agreed that she should have lost her title. So,
hey, and
should have happened.
They're never wrong. Neither are you, Max.
That's true.
So we have a few things we do here at the top of the show, and I want to get right into them. And they're going to be done a little different because yours truly has been a little busy and messed up a little bit. I'll take the L on here. But with that being said, we'll still do power rankings. We'll still YouTube comments. So for our audio listeners, nothing's going to change. For our viewers, we will post the episode of power rankings rather soon. And pay attention to those because once again, Tia and Bert will be doing a show heading towards into spring with a little in-depth look at the depth chart or not depth chart, excuse me, the power rankings and make them even more important. And as always, if you want to sign up at TNAIW channel, hit us up on Twitch. No? Well, you can. Sure. Add us on twitch.tv.
Twitter.
Thank you. Oh, man, Treehouse. Speaking of which, Tuesday, the 15th, I believe. Check it out. First episode premiere. Lucha Johnny and myself, Treehouse, talking about the Hogan era. Just talking about the Hogan era. 3 guys in Treehouse talking about the Hogan era. What could go wrong? All right. So we're going to do YouTube comments, and I will be reading them. Just because, yeah, they're on my phone. All right, guys. This is from the Silver Silvers. Welcome again. I don't really care about viewership when it comes to Impact, but Impact getting in the 90,000 viewership, I didn't expect that. Especially when they had returning Josh, Jay White, and Alex Selly on the show. I don't know what they can really do to get fans to tune in without some big debut or some crossover of some sort. Yeah, thank you as always for that. Max, I got an opinion on this. I think we hit this all the time, and we always debate about talking about ratings because at the same, we're hypocritical to talk about the ratings when the ratings are good, but still not give a shit about the Nielsen system. So it's a very weird dynamic. So we just kind of avoid it in general. But with that being said, there's a lot of competition for Impact, basketball, a lot of things, and I'm not making excuses. We're also not on a big, time platform. At the same time, you go on YouTube, and the viewership or the insider isn't that bad. It's in the 3,000 or so, not a big whatever, but hey, same thing. You have bootleg clips, best clips of Impact online that gets 50,000 views that are almost the whole episodes. People are still finding it. That also doesn't take into consideration the +3s, the +5s, which are the people that watch 3 to 5 days later on demand in all different other forms, as well as all the other platforms you could get Impact Wrestling. It's a broken system. And until that system includes myself and every other person in the United States, I don't give a shit what the Nielsen ratings tell me. I don't give a shit what Meltzer tells me. It's what I view. I'm a grown-ass person, and I like a show no matter if other people do. Max.
I mean, so since I got rid of Sling TV, I haven't watched Impact on Access TV in 6 months. It might not be 6 months, but it feels like it. I watch it on YouTube, and there's no way to track how many views an episode gets. I'm looking at YouTube now. This most recent episode, it just says stream 1 day ago. You can't tell how many people have watched it. Now, Chelsea Green versus Tasha Steele's #1 contender match has 42,000 viewers. I'm gonna let you know it was a decent match. But I don't think 42,000 people who had already watched the episode were like, you know what? I'm going to go watch that match again.
For sure.
So, I mean, I definitely think a lot of those, when you see these 42,000 people, they're people who haven't watched it. So it makes me wonder, like, how many people is YouTube adding in? And I know it sounds bad because, yes, you want the viewers to watch your show live. But if they're going on YouTube and watching Cassie Lee versus Madison Rayne, full match, 363,000 people watched that match.
Right.
Like, who gives a shit?
How do you judge in this world?
Yeah, like,
and that's what we say. Like, granted, yes, we with the movie sponsorship, we were obviously found out that was just the purchase that they bought, and obviously it's still even if you're feeding each other, it's just like complaining about Disney putting commercials on Hulu. They're still getting motherfucking paid. No one's complaining about Hulu being whatever. So I think it's silly, and it's not the question itself. It's a great question because it is deflating, especially if you're in any online community. You have to hear this stuff or see this stuff at some point. I'm just at a point in my life where I'm just give no fucks about it. Like, and at the same time, let me and then I'll let you have it at it. It's just it's frustrating to have to constantly say this person's dick's bigger than the others. In the grand scheme of things, if Impact is doing well, you like the show, I really don't care. I will say the only thing I care about is Impact shirts compared to every other company. Got to get that up there. Anyways, Max, yeah,
I
anything
mean,
else on
like to me, if Impact was on CBS or the WB network and it only had 90,000 viewers, I'd be concerned
Yeah,
because those are easily accessible channels that everybody and their mom should have. Like if you have any so if
right.
you're not pulling big viewers,
Yeah,
AEW's on TNT/TBS.
right.
Raw's or WWE's on USA and fucking Fox.
Yeah,
Like,
and neither of them could throw a dart at 1 million
yeah,
sometimes.
if you're on those big channels, yes, I fully expect your viewership to be in the hundreds of thousands. But Impact is on a smaller network, and they have not a lot of people get to begin with, and they
Yeah,
have an easy way to watch for $5 a month on YouTube.
right.
So that's why, and none of those YouTube viewers go into whatever they're making. So to me, I think it's a non-issue because clearly Access is happy with Impact,
Right.
and that's all that
Well,
matters.
the mothership. They're all feeding each other. But thank you for the question. It's not, the question. It's in general. But and also we're in a different time. And the other thing I will say about that is Impact isn't live. If Impact was live, if the variables were the same, then we could talk and show, measure up. But when it's not live, and yes, a game is on that's on a different channel that's more accessible and live, of course you're going to watch that and go back and watch Impact later. So, I think there's a lot we could go on and on about this, but that's why we don't talk about it. It's kind of a time waster. But next up, Blue Shades 92. With Moose working with the injury, if Josh wins the Impact title, who does he even feud with? They didn't really sign a big outside free agent, nor are they really pushing anybody in the main event scene. I thank you for your question, Blue Shades 92, as always. We'll actually kind of skip over this if you're okay with it, Max, just because we're going to be kind of digging into this
Yeah.
completely. The whole episode is based upon that question, essentially. Metal Lazy 99, welcome back. It's not that Jake is a big star, he is a solid talent. It's more about Impact not really doing much to sign equal or better talent to fill those roster spots of talents that left. I think we could talk about that again. Lucha, Parkside, IO, the T, I see y'all in there. What's up, guys? Um, I don't know, man. I think that's debatable, and once again, that flows right into what we'll be talking about this whole episode, I think.
I agree. I mean, I think you have to look like they signed all the Honor No More guys.
We'll see.
I mean, well,
We'll talk
sorry,
about that. Yeah.
may not have signed, but they brought all them on. They brought Jay White on.
Yeah.
So losing now, granted, it wasn't like the Honor No More people showed up and Jake something left the very next week. Like
Right.
there was overlap, but it's not like so. I mean, there's people that were added to the show that are currently doing things.
Right. Just because they don't leave at the same
Yeah.
exact.
So.
Um. Yeah, I appreciate the question, and it's. I think that's we'll talk about it, but I could see from both sides as seeing what they did with Jake on the way out and what Jake finally was going to become, and then just say okay later. So I get the frustration, but we'll see. I'm so Millard Harris. Welcome back again. If I'm pronouncing your name wrong, by the way, make sure you say it. I'm a Geoff with a G, so it's very important for me to get people's names right. Anywho, I'm so tired of hearing about Impact's ratings every week. Well, we should have read this first. I wish people concentrated more on the incredible show they're putting on each week instead of the stupid ratings. They'll never get good ratings on that shit network. I thought the YouTube Diva would have helped more. That's to say it hasn't. The YouTube TV ratings are not a part of Nielsen ratings.
Correct.
So the people, the numbers and the demographics and all that bullshit that they hype has nothing to do with the thing everyone swings their numbers around about. The thing about that, you're right, and we're tired about it as well, so we'll move on. But I don't know, Max. Do you have anything else
Yeah,
to add to that, or
I think that's the big thing. Like they that 90,000 doesn't include what people are watching from YouTube. I'm on the YouTube channel now. I'm looking the Motor City Machine Guns Bullet Club promo. It was
mm,
posted 7 hours ago. 41,000 views. I'm not gonna
like
there's like
in
people are
today's day and age?
seeing
How do you
impact.
right?
Like that's the thing, man. Is people are who cares if somebody is watching the whole episode?
Yeah,
If I don't care about Crazy Steve versus Steve Macklin, that didn't happen. I'm
that's
just
your
saying,
right. I know
yeah,
that's you.
I, cool. I'm gonna go during the episode. If I'm watching, I'm gonna get up and go to the bathroom. I'm gonna go grab something to eat. I'm just gonna skip it and watch what I want to, and then at the pay per view, I'm gonna watch or the special. I'll watch everything. Like that's
All
like
right.
it. As long as people are watching and getting excited and viewing stuff, that's what matters. Who cares about the viewership? This
Yeah,
isn't 1996.
that's the key. That's the key. It's not 1996. There's not 22 channels, or you know what I mean. There's not four, which the Nielsen or eight, which the Nielsen
Yeah,
rating is based upon. So I mean, there's a lot of factors, but also the demographic thing I think is really funny. They say that the demographic, which was the demographic from the 80s, 90s to early 2000s, is based upon 19 to 34, the buying market. The problem is the boomers have all the money. And I don't want to turn this into a political thing, and it's not whatsoever. It's just a matter of fact. The money is at a higher median of age than it is with youth. So whose demographic actually
I
matters?
mean, the
It
demographic
impacts.
that matters to me, and granted, when the Monday Night Wars were going on, no one gave two squirts of piss about the demo. That was just your raw numbers. We have 20 whatever X million people watching. Who cares? But the people who have the money, I agree. It's the boomers, your people in their 40s and 50s, and then kids. Because I'm going to let you know, for my birthday and Christmas and toys, I got bunches of Spider Man toys. My mom and dad did not watch a single fucking episode of Spider-Man the Animated Series. But all those Spider-Man toys were because I watched it and I wanted it.
Yeah.
So the demo to me is funny because like one of the things that we talk more about AEW, but with WWE is they're clearly gearing themselves
Mm.
to kids
Yep.
because they understand that if the kid says, "Mommy, I want a New Day unicorn t-shirt,"
Yeah.
that they're who gives a shit if a 36-year-old man doesn't like the New Day? If a
Right.
14-year-old kid that likes it does, he's getting that shirt because his parents are gonna be like, okay.
Uh, yeah, no, that's a very excellent point. I do want to just I'm interrupting and I apologize that I want to get on the show, but also there's a couple things. Parkside 15 is the comments that are reading, which is awesome. Millard Harris, that's awesome. Never knew that. Anyways, the last thing he is the last comment we have, which is God bless Big E. The spot was very scary, so it kind of leads into what you were saying. I think as fans, we tend to forget how dangerous this sport is. I'm glad his spirits are good, praying for him and his family. Yeah, I mean, obviously beautiful segue, but also something we definitely should mention, even though this is an impact based program, so official. But yeah, Max did not throw Big E out there or the New Day out there for shits and gigs. He is that kid who asked for the T-shirt from his parents for Christmas. So
I have 2 New Day shirts. I
yeah,
bought Bootios.
I have Bootios thanks to you.
I have the New Day pop figures. I love me some New Day.
Yeah, you do.
If I could draft anybody to start a company outside of AJ Styles, it would be the New Day.
At this age too, AJ Styles.
Yes, correct. Yeah, give me 100. I don't 78-year-old AJ Styles. I'll take him, and the New Day.
All right, I am with you. They're great talents, great talents. But speaking of that, we have a whole show based on that. We went a little bit long, and that's okay because besides the review, everything kind of melts into each other. And there wasn't really a lot going on in wrestling in the grand scheme of things, but we got some good stuff for you guys. And speaking of which, the power rankings I'm going to read to you once again because lost in the world is Geoff. So they will be out tomorrow. We'll put them on the YouTube channel once again. That'll be a short-term thing just because of what's going on, but look out for the show that will be the Tia and Bert coming out soon, which will be pretty cool. You never know who will show up on that show either. Anyway, so the power rankings, I will try to do it justice. Deputy, I apologize. Trey Miguel is number 10, our X Division champion. Number 9, Rich Swan, making it on there. Number 8, the reuniting Motor City Machine Guns. 7, I can't even read my own writing. That's why I'm struggling. Number 7, Mickey James, the former Knockouts champion. Number 6, Ace Austin. Number 5, the current Knockouts champion, Tasha Steeles. 4, Bullet Club. Very good, Max. Number 3, Josh Alexander. Number 2, Honor No More's Eddie Edwards. And number 1, your world champion, Moose. I will mention that before I got to vote, before we kind of agreed on anything, the Power Rankings Committee, which, once again, at TNAIW channel, write us, you're in. It's free. There's no weirdness to it. You get in there and you vote each week, and that's it. And it's a good time, and you can contribute to the Power Rankings that you think are poor or excellent. Max, let's get your opinion. But I voted for Moose to get up there. I didn't vote him number 1, I don't believe, this week, but he was not number 1. But I think what we're going to start doing is giving 10 points, no matter what, to the system, to the 2 main champions, world champion, knockouts, and
Okay.
and then the rest got 5. The other champions got 5. So it's a starting base. Yes, we
I
have.
think that's smart.
So if we get more people in there, the 12 or whatever that vote will go to 13 and 14. So it'll spread the difference, but
I think the ratings are solid. Trey being low could move up a little bit, but didn't really do anything. Just kind of chilled on
Right.
commentary. Beautiful commentary should at least afford him the 9 spot. I will say you got the name correct, Bullet Club. Unfortunately, Carl Anderson and Doc Gallows added
Yeah.
the. I may need to reach out to them on Twitter and let them know.
tell them how it is.
I know it's been a
Tell
while
them
since
how it is.
they've been a part of Bullet Club, but
Right.
look at the fucking jacket. It just says Bullet Club. Like, it doesn't say the Bullet Club. Come on.
But it says the Good Brothers, so maybe
They're the Good Brothers as part of Bullet Club.
answer his question right quick. He said, "Is this the first time the world champion being ranked number 1 twice in a week?" No, this is a record-breaking time because Moose has set it with 5 weeks in a row at number 1. So,
Kenny
5 weeks.
Omega couldn't get up there once.
Once, Max. He got there once. Unbiased, transparent, pro wrestling. TNAIW. All right. Yeah, no, I agree. I think there's some weirdness on here for me. I know Mickey James pinned Tasha Steeles now, so technically she gets her rematch anyways. I love the Bullet Club stuff. Well, let's get into the review because I think it all flows into each other. And I really liked this episode. And it was promo heavy. But once again, same with the matches. I think they're giving the promos and the matches both more time. So it's stretched compared to, whatever. It's compared to, those all fitting everybody in, Attitude Era stuff we're talking about. It's still that importance to get onto a segment, but they're expanding them to include more people. And I thought the Bullet Club versus versus Verbally versus Motor City was excellent. Was excellent.
No, I thought that was really well done. I thought Josh Alexander coming out and kind of giving his spiel was really well done.
Yeah.
Little concern, Matt Taven almost took a tumble getting into the ring. Little concern for him there, but I do find now I understand the match literally just started, but I find it funny that everybody comes out in normal clothes and Kenny King's in tights and no shirt. Like, Kenny, what you expect? Like, I understand it's pre-programmed, but come on, man, at least put a shirt on when you go out there. Like, he knew. He's like, look. I will also say, I really think it may be time to replace Rhino as part of Impact team because Rich Swann gets out there first, completely understandable. He's probably in the best shape of all those group. He gets there first when he's running to the ring after everything happened. Willie Mack and Heath, a little bit slower. Understand that. Willie Mack's a little bit bigger. He's a little bit older. I'm pretty sure Scott has come out there and interrupted them before Rhino actually made it to the ring. Like, Rhino, I mean...
Yeah, man. Look, I call it a spade, man. Love Rhino. Still, the music still pops me. I just wish it was where the music popped me and then he got to the ring right after. And I get, hey, man, he's aging, but I know he's slimming down. He's doing it. Look, man. I'll never say Rhino, get the hell off my television screen. but he doesn't need to make the save. That's all I'm saying.
So
All right.
also a little upset that Scott banned all of Honor No More. I feel at least you should allow, and luckily,
just Maria,
yes,
on the heel
luckily
side.
she came out and made it known that she is not a wrestler, so she's allowed to be at ringside. I was happy for that at the main event, but I feel like she should. I really feel like she should just be there on every match. It doesn't matter if Honor No More is there or not.
Beautiful. Let's go down. Let's go down the list right quick. So on BTI, once again, I implore you guys to check it out. Even if you just check out the matches are always good and they have continuity. Right now, it's Jordan Grace for defeating Havoc. Good to see them on the television screen. Josh had as we alluded to, a pretty good bacon space. Dirty. He said, "You're the bad boy, Max, and I'm the good boy." If only you knew. If only you knew life. Not in your life, but our lives. Anyways, Josh promo was excellent. Bacon Space, welcome back, buddy. We love you. Josh's promo was really good, man. We'll talk about him as a free agent, quote unquote, and what came from that or did not. I think what they did here is a stroke of genius. It's one of those things that the storyline was beautifully executed to where if you were, and I'm not going to use the M word, but I will say, if you kind of watch it with a open mind, we're cynical. We're in our 30s, homies. It's we've seen it all. We've unfortunately been gotten by all of it. But yeah, I thought it was it's just good stuff. They did it well. We'll talk about it. I could go on for hours about how great Josh is. Don't make that the clip either, because now it looks like we're kissing ass. We love you, Jade, still. All right, Eddie and Honor No More then come out. Eddie, man, look, I could not be happier for talent. I'll let you go into that when we, obviously, I'm sure you have something to mention on that. But then Scott comes out. Good stuff all around for a promo that was decently sized to start a show. Kenny King rolled in, as Max alluded. Kenny was ready to go. Willie there as well. Willie Mack taking the victory there, which I think
disappointed. I like Kenny.
Same, but I think that has to do with what we're going to be talking about as we go down here with the constant refresh topic. Keeping going, Scott and Moose, I love that interaction there. It kind of alluded that who do you think he talked to when he was there? What management do you think he, signed off on this? Interesting. Canada. But Moose, I like the, it's not the gray. I'm not going to say it's a Vince Russo thing, but I love, and there's nothing against Vince Russo. I think he gets a bad rap. But, or maybe it's before his time. I think that's might be worse. But anyways, the general manager, although he might like the face, he doesn't need to hate the heel. He doesn't, it's okay to do. I really like that he's like, whatever. I dig that.
I also think he's one of those people who's like, hey, I'm going to do what's best for business. And obviously bringing Josh Alexander back is best for business.
You know what, Max? It's hard being a day one Impact fan to think that management, on screen or not, is doing what's best for business. All right. So then Trey at commentary, which Max alluded to as well. I know we'll talk about Rehwoldt, but Trey, I think this just opens up his character and his personality to shine for what we, most of us know I know I've hung out with him, but you know what I mean. That you get to see through Twitter or anything else you get to see him, interact with. Good dude, funny. I know this is so cartoonish, but I say the Bart Simpson of, that's his kind of but whatever. Anyways, he was out there to watch what will be the first of two 3 ways to get into the 3-way. Heard that before. For the X Division title at Rebellion versus Trey. It was John Schuyler who got a really dope new song for him, putting some money in him. Crazy Steve and Ace Austin, who ended up winning that. So it'll be Ace, Trey, and somebody. Then Gujar was back with a new cut, looking good. With Gia, Raj came out. I cannot say enough about Raj saying, man, such good shit. And I will get to that in just a moment because I don't want to overshoot. And then Larry D. Speaking of which, when you saw him punch Raj, spoiler alert, his pants came down a little bit. And you saw that he was also ready to wrestle. So, ready to wrestle, excuse me. He was dressed and ready to wrestle. It's all about Butch. Oh my God. Jesus. I digress. All right. So Larry D popping back in, who was released.
Keeping my hope alive of Dalton Castle coming back and getting his boys. I don't
Not if Tony
quite
Khan
know.
allows it.
I'm trying to look through and see. Maybe it's Larry D and Jonah are going to be the boys.
Don't shoot. Let's get into it. All right, so VBD's up next, cutting a promo as VBD does. Always enjoyable. It's the same thing, but it's not the same thing. It's kind of like the Wyatt, the Wyatt family. It's like, yes, they're saying gibberish in a sense, but it all has a meaning. It's just watch it. It's fun. It's fun shit. And I dig it. From the camera work to everything, it's beautiful. I love it. Keep it going. Then we had a 8-man tag of knockouts. Didn't feel like the old school 8 knockout. Well, not knockouts, but divas tag. So don't be. We're not going on that trend. We just have a deep and talented roster with a lot of intertwining storylines, which I really fucking dug. So the influence Tasha and Evans with Caleb versus so your champions versus your former champions in Mickey, the inspiration. I keep connecting.
Yeah.
And then Chelsea as well, who legitimately, so I apologize about that, is legitimately hurt. I'm going to go off her word, and I'm going to say it's legit.
Or she wrapped her wrist she's playing it up for the storyline. Either way, she's got that cast on. We saw her wrestle with it at Slammiversary too. So
yeah. Next, and this is why you're blasphemous. I thought it's a work as well, and we'll talk about that. Someone had deleted or posted. I can't remember, and if I do remember, I wouldn't say it anyways. But they had posted a comment and then deleted, or I can't find it. So forgive me if I'm mistaken. But had mentioned that it's not that the Chelsea thing is innovative or different. It's that they're just dragging it out to try to trick you to whatever. I said, and I think there's more depth to this. And if it's a work on the arm or not, it's being done very, very well. So we'll talk about that. Jonah promo was next, and that's why I said it was blasphemous, because that was phenomenal.
Great promo. I do agree.
In the PCO thing, we'll talk about that a little bit. Why he wasn't with Honor No More. I have a theory on that. Bullet Club, all 4 of them, putting Jay over, putting Jay over, but also putting Bay over. They keep making sure he's in the Bullet Club, not can I say Bullet Club? In Bullet Club. No, in Bullet Club. But not, just the guy who joined Bullet Club.
Yeah, he's not Vincent, or not Vincent. Oh, I was thinking Virgil, but was his name Vincent when he came to NW?
Yes.
He's not that. It's not just hey, just some random dude in the background.
Hey, it's guy number. It's
we need someone to take a pin. Go get out there, Bay. Go do it. He's still, I mean, he really is. Since he's joined, he really has been a key piece.
Yeah.
So I think that's great.
Involved.
Yeah.
Involved, which is important. I've seen in, not to dig pro wrestling and other companies, I'll just say that, where people join something or it's just for a bit and they don't feel like they're actually part of it. Yeah. They're not mentioned in promos. They're not, things of that nature. They're ignored by other things. So anyway, Alex Shelley comes out first, which I love Alex Shelley. If you watch the show, you know that. And then X-Ray was 2021 and from Orlando, not Louisville. TU's 1990 coming with some facts. Okay, so that we'll get into that. Beautiful. So if it's storytelling, it's storytelling. And I thought that either way execution of making sure Chelsea wasn't hurt, and then the slap, and then the continued and check on her friend, beautifully done. If it's legit, beautifully done. If it's a work, good recovery, rather. If it's a work, beautifully done. Either way, I'm happy with that. But anyways, Alex Shelley comes out. They have a wonderful spat. Ended with a great line from Alex Shelley. Beautiful. Another long segment, talking segment, but executed. It doesn't matter what it is to me as long as it's done and executed well, and it was. And then Chris Sabin, of course, he's not alone. Chris Sabin, yeah,
That
they're
was
together.
a good line. When I'm in Impact, I'm never alone.
Yeah,
Now
good
comes
stuff.
Chris Sabin.
I was hoping it was never walk alone or never ride alone. That's what it was. Never. What was that? Aces and eights. And then last but not least, Swan versus Eddie. And Eddie finished them off with a Die Hard driver, which I thought was dope because as a ROH mark, that was a good wink to the past, made a lot of sense. And I also, I can't get my words out, love him more as with that finisher than the Boston Tea Party. So it's cool to see that. Cool to see Eddie get to talk more, get to have something else to bite into and knock it out of the fucking park, man. Love that group together. So let me tell me rather what you thought about it and go from there.
I thought it was a really good episode. I really do. I like heel Eddie, and this is gonna sound weird, but like it kind of reminds me of when Hulk Hogan turned on WCW and he was like finally a heel, and then you're like, oh man, this guy's really good as a heel because for Hogan it's because he really in real life was a heel and just started being himself. But with Eddie, like he was good and he was like Mr. Impact for so long that this switch is really well done, and I think him being the leader of Honor No More, just he adds something to it. I really like that. I liked the beginning promo. Jonah's promo was really good. Talking about PCO, talking about, how he's supposed to be this monster, blah, blah, blah. Like what he did to him. I thought that was really well done. I'm really interested to see because he's leaving soon, supposedly.
Maybe.
So but that's what we're led to believe currently.
Right.
So I'm interested to see if he does, who his last feud is going to be. Like who it ends up being. And then I thought the women's tag match, I thought it was a little interesting that Tasha took the pin. I also found it interesting that Chelsea and Mickey were dressed alike, almost like they're going to maybe team up and they needed matching gear, or, maybe someone turns, but interesting there. So, and I like that Caleb with his satchel has a Knockouts Tag Team Champion print on that. I think that's perfect as well. So kind of like the Freebird rule, but not really. But
and I don't want the influence to be the next. The inspiration to be the next to hold it actually. And you brought it up with the Chelsea thing. If the arm things have worked beautifully done, it adds to the story even more. Because now that I think about it, and that you guys have proven that, Jonah versus Joe at Slammiversary, please. Oh my god,
that would be really cool.
Even if Jonah goes away from this point forward, as long as he comes back for that, I get no shits. But you got to remember, Samoa Joe's being inducted to the ROH Hall of Fame. So we'll see we'll see how that plays out. We'll talk about that too because we're going to talk about the Briscoes and the Good Brothers and our theory. Max is more so that he's turned me on to of why that is that they lost the titles. All right. So we were talking about.
We'll get to that, Bacon. He want to know what our thoughts of the Hardys back together.
Oh yeah, we'll definitely get to that.
We will get to that when we talk about the Briscoes.
Yeah, there we go. That's a good place to talk about it. So, yeah, man, I liked the episode. Once again, I thought the timing of the show was nicely done. It's an hour and 24, no matter what way they slice it, or hour 26, I can't remember, but either way, they fill those segments, and it doesn't feel like you want more. You always want more, and I dig that. We'll talk about what I think this does, but I do want to mention on the Chelsea thing, or as far as what this show's effect on what we'll talk about later is. But I do want to mention, because you brought it up with the Chelsea, yeah. I think, going back to that comment that I was deleted or not deleted, I don't remember it. I might be fucking up, so that's why I'm not going to say their name. But they're dressed alike, Max. I don't think this means that she is going to turn heel anytime soon. What I think it means is that maybe, well, okay, I think I'm not going to go too far. I'll keep it straight, not go on in a rabbit hole. I will say this. If it's a fake arm issue, that would mean, in my mind, if I was writing this, that Chelsea at some point during that match said, oh shit, I can't beat Deonna. I know today I am not good enough to beat Deonna. So let me fake this injury. Act like I'm tough, see whatever, get the attention, whatever it may be for, however they plug it in. So I can see that hot mess coming and doing that, right? Like that's where she's starting to break a little bit. I like that. Now, as far as the dressing alike thing, that can end one of two ways. Either they stick as a tag team, and Mickey's all down for it, and we're going to be a tag team. We're going to go for the tag team championships, and then when it comes, either they can't do it or they can do it, and Chelsea eventually turns, right? We get the inevitable, but the storyline has had twists and turns, and it's awesome. At the same time, we don't know Mickie James's stance on Chelsea doing her costume, or her attire, the way that Mickie James had hers. Yeah, they're friends, but just because one person... Look, I had a friend that ended up, his dad ended up dating my mom, had a single mom. And I wanted to be Sub-Zero for Christmas. Or not for Christmas. I wanted to be Sub-Zero for Halloween. I want to be
Sub-Zero for Christmas.
Hey, man. Why not? That's what it is right now. It's fucking freezing. Yeah, I digress. So I wanted to be Sub-Zero, and the kid just was all clingy, and they dressed up as Scorpion. And I didn't want to be Sub-Zero. Right? I didn't ask him to be that, but if you spotted us on the street, if we were in a fucking tag team, you would say, oh man, these guys like each other. And they're in a tag team. No, I didn't do that. I didn't ask this homie to dress like that. Okay, so it could be the same thing. So I want to say it could be.
We could see somebody turn heel.
Bacon
or they
win the titles.
Mickie James heel turn. I think that would be interesting.
I agree.
I mean, we'll see. I think it... We'll talk about when we get to the depth chart. We'll kind of talk about what people can do and how things are go. He also asked, "Do we think Tasha will turn face?" I think Tasha will very similar, and I'll bring up the New Day again. Very similar to how the New Day were heels, and then just people started liking them. It would not surprise me if Tasha gets to the point where people just start liking her attitude, and then she's still Tasha, but she's naturally a face because people get behind her.
Right. It's going to be too hard to deny her appeal to the audience, and no matter what she does, she's going to get cheered. So there's going to come that point, right? I could see that happening before they actually turn her a full-blooded face. Look, man, as far as Lucha had said, once again next Tuesday, watch out for Treehouse, but Elo Atrine show where we talk about the Hogan era, but Lucha, shout out to him. He had said, I'm gonna lose it. Bullet Club, that she should be part of something like that, Bullet Club specifically, that her and Savannah could be additions to, and one's just a muscle, obviously, but she has that swag and could add that little face to heel, right? That rub. Like, they're not always heel, they're not always face, they're just kind of doing their thing. They're hip, right? But anyways, I think something cool like that would work for her. But if it happens that way too, where it organically happens, where the fans just can't, they start clapping instead of booing, which at this rate, man, from everything she does is just...
It'll happen. There was a woman in Bullet Club, and then, unfortunately...
Talking about Bullet Babe?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Doc Gallows divorced her. And then, unfortunately... Much like Bullet Club, when a split happens, they pick sides. And just like Gorillas of Destiny, she got kicked out of the club. I don't know. So the rest of the club sided with him. So, it's
just business.
Yeah, hey.
All right. Shout out.
Don't make that the big clip either, by the way.
All right, let's move on to the next one here. It says Josh free agent, just because, as we said on the show, we never thought he was leaving. Once again, Josh is from all intents and purposes, a smart sounding dude, Canadian. I'm sure that adds some IQ points on top of that. maybe not now, but anyways, I doubt he would quit his job before and the ability to feed his family, his full-time job, to work a full-time wrestling one once again, to possibly make money at another company. And granted, he's very talented, so he would get a job somewhere. But you don't take that chance.
Yeah.
And he admitted that. Well, not that part, but you know what I mean. That he was never going to leave. It was always going to happen. The problem is he did have a visa thing, so that it just added to it, and he would never, cancel shows for storyline purpose. Which I agree. I believe that it's a viable whatever, and that's what we kind of thought would happen. With that being said, he is with Impact locked in, and we will put that whatever. We'll talk about that in the depth chart. I'm sure he'll be 1 or 2 in the heavyweight division. Because what they've done with him, his arc is just beautifully told. And if it's rushed or not, as far as winning it at Rebellion instead of farther down the road at whatever it meant Ben that we thought he was, and I think that was a Tatia question in the chat. I apologize for not answering. Do I think it's rushed? No, but do I think that maybe his injury played a part in it? Moose's, it could have. He's not. He's a tough dude. We're not seeing any signs of it, to my knowledge, or in my eyes. But who knows? But either way, if Josh wins at Rebellion, or when he wins at Rebellion, or whatever you may think, I don't think it's a bad thing.
No.
You said it actually off air about you don't have to be a year champion to have a successful run.
Correct. Yeah, a lot of it is the chase, and much like with AEW. With Hangman, the primary thing with him was the chase. Now, with Hangman, you had the ability to keep him away from Kenny Omega, and you could slowly build up to him getting the title. With Josh, he literally was the champion and then lost it immediately. You can't keep him away from the title for a year. Like, it wouldn't have made sense. So they did a good job initially, and Josh even talked about it. They gave me Charlie Haas, they gave me Jonah, they gave me this.
Right.
And then he left for the visa thing. So you were able to extend it to an extent, but the heat for this match is now. Is it possible Moose wins with some interference and maybe you can push it out one more like pay-per-view? Possibly, but I really do think that like now's the time to capitalize. When he came back, I signed a new contract. Here it is. Like it's as hot as it's going to get.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair, and it's been nicely told. So I don't feel if I watched it, or I have watched it, but I've watched it with not doing a podcast, talking to anyone about it, I would have just said, it doesn't feel. I think it feels, and not judging it, just watching it. I think it feels natural. It's not like it was like that. How far can keep this guy from?
Now,
the AEW thing would have been cool, but
yeah, but I mean that Hangman wasn't the champion there. He was trying to. So, right. But now, if you do want to push it out, you have either Josh's wife or his kid turn on him and cost him the match. Right. But I don't. That'd be a little.
Jesus. All right. Well, we are at 8:50, so we are talking long, guys.
All right.
But we'll kind of we'll bunch this in a little bit. And speaking of that, if you want to watch another long show, but a great.
I would say, Bacon asked if we watch Impact only. I watch AEW.
Yeah, I only have time. I have a kid.
Yeah, Geoff has a kid and can't watch. I watch Impact and AEW.
Yeah. So what I was saying was, I don't even remember at this point.
It's 8:50. We're gonna speed this up.
Oh, 8:50. We're
talking about a constant refresh.
No. I was gonna say, first of all, we were going a little long, and the guys had a great show, but along with that, talking bloody nonsense. No, it was good. I just gave Max. I was like, okay, keep it. Or Max, I told Craig to keep it down a little bit as we go along. So instant karma. Son of a bitch. But no, it's a great show all around. Catch it there, episode 12, Talking Bloody Nonsense, because they talk about Impact Preview, they talk about Impact Review, they talk about British wrestling, they talk about everything that's a hot topic, and they reviewed Sacrifice. So go check it out, even if you watch it in installments. Or the same thing here. As long as you guys get those clicks going, Like, subscribe, all that stuff. We'd love you. We thank you. We appreciate every interactions we have. Talking Bloody Nonsense. You can also catch, well, live premiere 4 p.m. Eastern every Thursday before Impact, and then 9 p.m. British Standard Time. So check that out. Love them both, Nixon and them. And then also you'll be seeing all of the people we slowly mentioned on a family game kind of show coming hopefully this summer, where we all get to interact and we get to interact with each other. So there's our plugs for it. We're going a little long, but here we go. So, but one thing I want to mention about Josh, Josh and Eddie, we know we're going to be free agents, so it takes a different turn when you look at it from the AEW perspective that they both mentioned, both of those guys. You could say that maybe they mentioned them live on air to get a little bit of what if kind of going, see the buzz, and then Eddie and them say, hey, maybe I should sign with AEW. Look at the buzz it got me. Just from them mentioning. Possible. Maybe they were playing for it. No matter how you go about it, they re-signed with Impact. Rehwoldt is now signed to be the guy who's next to I keep wanting to say fucking Phillips, man. Tom Hannafin.
Just call him
Just
Tom.
Next to Tom. So we're retaining our talent, and I got excited, and I was like, oh man, I've been saying it for a while. We're getting back to a place where we keep the roster and whatever. Then I see people say we have a depth chart problem, but then I see the comments after Falaba finally is on the sheets as being not with the company anymore, which we mentioned, I think, last week for one. But it mentioned that for us to get used to this, as we'll have our core guys, but we'll have a constant refreshing of the talent. So a backstage person had said that to one of the sites. So if you believe it, you believe it. But that gets away from being the thing that has a bunch signed. Max, do you think that's an issue when you're signing your core talent?
I actually don't. So I'm looking at the roster. I think as long as you keep your core talent together, having the constant refresh is a good thing. Like you look at, right now, Finjuice came in, did their thing, left, came back, did their thing, left. It makes it fresh. When they're there, you're excited about them. Bullet Club, like those. There's nothing wrong with guys coming in, doing a program and leaving, and new guys coming in. As long as you keep your core together, like you don't need to be WWE where you have 160 guys on the roster and 130 of them are doing nothing, and then only 30 are working. Like you run like Impact. It's a smaller company. So it makes sense to develop storylines, develop, plans for people, bring them in, let those plans run their course, and then leave. And it just keeps things fresh. I like it.
Yeah, it was deflating after hearing them sign, but then you look at who's signed and who's might be going in and out. It doesn't mean that you have your core guys and then you're losing, a Sammy once in a while, or you're losing an Eddie. We're keeping these people. Well, I hope. I do want to mention that I looked it up as far as contracts running up, and we do have a few. I obviously didn't write it down, but of course. But Ace Austin coming up in July. Su Yung coming up in May. Who else did we see? The Good Brothers coming up in July. And I'm missing one else. Was it Willie Mack? So there are a few guys coming up, and there's a lot of people working without contracts. We could debate that all day. It's just when you hear those names, you say, man, it's a little rough. But if your core is what we hope it to be, the group that and we'll talk about that, we'll roll into that. I hope it doesn't play out the way that my mind goes to, as far as who we actually leave. Because the point you make I always like, which is you have your primetime players and then you bring in a few guest stars once in a while, and it feels refreshing. They have different people to face. Now, does it hurt when we're talking about the depth chart? Yeah. Can we fill 5 contenders every day of the week? Probably not. But we're not that company right now while we're still making a profit. So I think it's about once we get down the road or a bigger deal or whatever it may be, or Access TV or Access app is bigger, whatever, however you want to slice it, then we could talk. But retaining the core talent and just infusing some good ones without keeping anyone just on the sideline and letting them make a chance of a living somewhere else, I don't think that's a bad thing.
Like, let's be realistic. Who would you rather have right now? Falaba.
Max, why do you do these fucking things to me, man?
I'm just asking.
I want to be a good boy, Max.
Would you rather have Falaba or Jay White? I'm just saying.
It depends on how you're using them, man.
So Jay White in the program that he's in right now, or whatever they're. Have they used Falaba on anything as good as Jay White and Chris Bay versus Motor City Machine Guns?
See, now using and talent are two different things we can debate. But as far as how they used him and the seriousness level or stature on the card, yes, Jay White's being brought in is. But why not both? Yes, but there's only so much talent, time to give out.
And that's the thing. Like, it's not like AEW has Dynamite, they have Rampage, they have Dark, they have Elevation.
They have ROH.
Well, they're going to have ROH. They have right now. So they have tons of time to do things in. And, like, people can – Scorpio Sky and his year unbeaten streak mostly happened on Dark and Elevation. So Impact doesn't have that. So you have 2 hours a week, 3 if you count – before the Impact, you have 3 hours to get things in. So when you have that, when that's your window, like, it makes sense to say, who are the people that we want to primarily focus on that are like you said, that are our core component, who are our max contract guys, and then who are going to be the guys we bring in to fill the rest of it. So
yeah, no, I'm just gonna because to get us on pace a little bit, I will move us on to the possibility of what could be next. It has a different meaning when we talk about some things. I do want to hit a couple of notes so that I have circled this for you and get your opinion on that. So when it comes to it, we could look at this roster, but who are the people that it matters who's coming in and out? Like, yes, Falaba, great dude, great talent. It's not taking anything away from him, but you lose these people, and is it going to kill the show? It'll kill maybe the spirit of a fan who is a fan of that person, but they have avenues to help them and show their support to get them another gig somewhere else. So he has the talent, so it's not like that. It's not like, oh, this guy's a talented dude. I want to make that point clear, but you talked about Kenny King as a surprise losing to Willie Mack. We talk about Matt Taven facing, is it Moose next week? Matt Taven versus
Josh Alexander.
Josh, yes.
He's not winning that, by the way.
No, I don't think so. And I love Matt Taven. See, that's the thing, though. Is it exciting that we don't know if he's sticking around, or is it a disappointment because they don't have their own thing? And that's why I mentioned about PCO. I thought the Jonah thing was excellent because they're two guys that perceivably aren't with the company, but PCO is. They don't want to broadcast that, but allegedly a 3-year contract with the company. So it's interesting they break him away from Honor No More, right? Yeah, okay, injuries, even if that's real, it doesn't seem like that. He seemed okay. I obviously don't know him, but we'll definitely check up on that. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But storyline purposes, and I wouldn't be wrong technically to insinuate since they just are pulling this with Chelsea, allegedly. Is it possible that none of those people are sticking around? And that's kind of upsetting. Because I really am starting to. Well, I love Kenny King. We could talk days about Maria and Mike, especially with the Miracle music. I've grown really on seeing a good stretch of his portfolio or his abilities now. I like Vincent and his character, and I love Eddie and Top. It would be
I like
a
how
big
you
loss.
just left Matt Taven off the list.
No, I already put him over. I already put him over. Yes, and look, I see Zicky and Swinger. I like those fringe characters being together, man. But who do you see on the depth chart as you look at it as being someone that, not that you can live without, I don't want to take the negative aspect of it, but who on there, would you not want to lose?
So, I mean, obviously, outside of Chris Bay, and I include this in the Bullet Club and the Good Brothers, is what I'm going to say. I think the Good Brothers and Jay White could do a rotation in and out, come in for storylines, leave.
Mm,
As much as I would love to see those guys every week, I
right.
think you could do Jonah. I think can do it. Like there's a lot of guys who, especially if you're starting to share talent, that like as much as I love Ace Austin, I'd have no problem with Ace Austin leaving for a couple. Like if he doesn't, let's say he doesn't beat, let's say he loses the next match,
Right.
goes and wrestles in New Japan for 3 months, and then comes back and like to me, there's got like I like seeing these guys, but I don't have a problem with them going out, developing themselves, doing things like it was like I know Finjuice like was still here, but it was cool when they left and went to New Japan and they were champions and there was footage of them carrying like the Impact belts around in New Japan. That's
Right.
cool to me, like stuff
Yeah.
like that. Like it doesn't necessarily like Rhino. I like Rhino, but you could like Rhino could go do something. So there's different guys that like if they're
Yeah.
currently in storylines, just bringing storylines in and out. And when these guys aren't in storylines, have them go wrestle in AEW, have them go wrestle in New Japan.
Well, see, the
And
thing is I don't think it's a matter of them rotating back into the thing. Those people are talents that I think are um, talents that like to be locked. I don't know. I don't know. It depends on what their goals and what. I don't want Ace leaving is blasphemy. I don't want that to happen.
I
I
mean
don't want
not
any.
permanently. I'm just like
Yeah.
I think him in Japan would be an absolute star.
Oh yeah,
That's why I think if
for
he
sure.
goes and did a short run in Japan to
Yeah.
give himself some time, like it's just
Well,
things
well,
like that.
yeah. Well, let's before so we can actually get into these other things. Let's talk about the Briscoes first of all. Obviously they're facing. You had an idea of why um, maybe that the Good Brothers lost the titles unexpectedly. Obviously, it could just be storyline. But, conspiracy theorists' way of looking at it is maybe Tony Khan once again doesn't want his people beating or losing to another companies. And then if we agree to that, because the ego is, it seems, less on Impact's side. Um, if we say we're going to eat the pin, you don't want them beating our champion. So I think that's a great point in theory.
That's a possibility.
But uh, now we're seeing that Warner Media, the reason that the Briscoes aren't signed is because of comments that Jay made in 2013 at a live event or whatever it was. Uh, you know, and to be honest, I know he knows people that have spoken up for him and who the man he is today, and learn. He learned from that lesson and whatever. And I think it's time we finally stop not giving people second chances. So and take them for face value. But with that being said, Warner Media and AEW don't want to take the chance. Do we?
Um, I mean, I'd take the chance with the Briscoes.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're great. They're stars. I mean, those guys have been amazing. It would instantly improve your tag team division.
Instantly.
And I mean, I'd take them in a heartbeat. I do think, obviously, I'd said previously that's why I thought Good Brothers lost the titles. I think now with them not wanting the Briscoes on the new ROH, it wouldn't surprise me if the Briscoes lost the titles to the Good Brothers. And even in then, having a team carry both titles creates issues because, well, what if we want our team to lose? Like, so I mean, it made sense for them to lose them,
Yeah.
things like that. But
Right.
I mean, I would love the Briscoes. I think they would be
I agree.
instant. Like,
I just sorry.
they're stars.
Yeah, I agree. I think their characters already write themselves. They are who they are. They're walking, moments. And they can go. And they add in different divisions as well if they want to separate. But together, I just would love the Briscoes to be part of Impact. And it does. It solidifies your division. And I just don't think we're at that point where the Briscoes being on Impact is gonna get us in trouble. It's so silly, and luckily we don't have to deal with that.
I mean, it's one of the advantages of Impact being on their own network.
Yes,
Like
sir. Yes, sir.
as much as I'm sure FTR could vouch for them, but if the main guys say, "Hey, we don't want this negative publicity,"
Right.
it's going to put a stop to it. Bacon did want us to talk about the Hardys real quick.
Oh, right.
I will say this: I'm happy the Hardys are back. I would much prefer them though to be the Broken Hardys than just the normal Hardy Boys. I thought that was some of their best work in years. I love the Broken Matt gimmick. I thought the Brother Nero portion of that was amazing. Just the Hardy Boys in general is cool for a while, but I think the Broken gimmick, it gives them more freedom to do stuff, and especially in a place like AEW where a lot of what you do and your creative is in your own control. I feel like the Broken Hardys opens up the ability for them to do more stuff than just the normal Hardys do.
Yeah, I agree. Obviously, don't want to go too far into it, but I will say that both talented dudes. Would be lying if I said I wouldn't like them in Impact. But this is one of those chances that I don't think Impact could afford to make, meaning putting the investment into Geoff. I also be lying if I didn't say, hey, we should throw the bag on, because at the merchandise, at the attendance, well, more we don't know that now, but he's a cash cow. And he really is a name that most people know, unless you're what's his face, who called him Jeff Harvey on the Botchamania moment. But I digress. Anyways, yeah, I'm happy for them. I'm glad they could go out their own way, however they choose to. But that's the key. I hope they are able to do what they want to do, physically, mentally, creatively, because we all know one way or another that Tony Khan gets the book. So. But surprised and all that when people are popping, oh my God, it's Jeff. Oh, shit, man. So whatever. But good for him. Wants to let him go on. I hope he's doing well, which seems to be. He released that statement. So, but let's move on to our depth chart, so we could get that at least said we did, or at least we can say we did. Let's start with World, because if we don't get into all of them, we could talk about them. But the World, we could definitely say we have a champion, and we have 4 people who you think can win the title now, or could possibly be built up in the future. What do you think? And we're not talking about, they need heels or faces. We're not going to get that in depth. Let's
just
talk about
people.
talent.
So obviously you've got your champion.
Right.
You've got Josh Alexander.
100.
You've got Eddie Edwards.
Especially with this man, I'm so happy, and I don't think it would be transitional, which is awesome.
If he stays, you've got Jay White, who could, if he decides to keep any type of decent time here, he could run a program with him, at least as a number 1 contender. Let's see. So I really like Ace Austin. I think he could easily transition into a number 1 contender without much build up.
Yeah.
And then I think you've also got Morrissey.
Yeah, sorry. He said, Jeff, which one takes longer to happen? Jeff Hardy dancing to the ring or Rhino walking to the ring?
It's Rhino, by the way.
Let's see, man. I'd pay to watch that.
Rhino takes longer to get to the ring.
All right. So Moose, Josh, and I agree with you, man. But let's take it at face value. If Ace was to win the championship instead of Josh at Rebellion, no one would give a fuck. And I love Ace, but there's no next day shit.
Unfortunately, if anybody wins the title at Rebellion, other than Josh,
I think if Josh won it, that's a game changer. It changes it's supposed to happen. It's a newsworthy thing.
Yeah.
I think if not that Ace winning it won it, but he's not in that world right now, or it would be very Impact to give him a title before his contract runs up. But Moose, if he keeps it for a while more, no one's going to complain. Eddie Edwards with Honor No More, if he's a heel and he wins that, no one's going to complain per se. So do we have 2 other guys right now that you could say they're on that level? Morrissey, it confuses me, because I want to say he signed, but we don't know that. We maybe obviously signed an extension at least to be on air. But do you invest in someone that might not be there long term? So, and he's doing his thing with Myers right now or something. I love Cardona. Obviously, got to put him at the DMC level because we're going to do all of these. If we don't do them tonight, we'll definitely. Actually, it's 9:10, so we'll do. Let's do the world, get that going, and do the KOs out of respect. Get the 2 world titles out, and we'll let you guys come up with your ideas, and we'll reconvene next week. So 2 more guys that are on there that you think we don't know about Morrissey per se.
I mean, you've got Callahan when he eventually comes back.
Yep.
He's
I agree with you
obviously
there.
I mean, if
Okay.
you're looking at someone, Macklin has potential to be like. So here's the thing. I mean,
I like him in the DMC, man.
Like,
it's
just him turning like with everything, like he hit. Like, there are people they have that don't take, that you can very quickly put in that spot and build to a legitimate contender like that.
No, I agree. Building
and
the
Macklin,
long-term way.
and I mean, and I'm not talking about long-term build. I'm talking about within like a month. Like, to me, Morrissey within a month is a legitimate contender for a world heavyweight title.
Okay, so
like,
let's put him then. We'll put him.
So, I mean, that's same thing with Jay White. Like, he's there.
Yeah, I
He
agree.
can run a legitimate program. He calls himself the true belt collector. So it only makes sense that at some point while he's here, he's going after that title, at least for a program.
In storyline purposes, that makes sense. In business purposes, do you give the belt? Does it look lowbrow to give your belt to someone who's a part-time player?
They gave it to Kenny Omega. They gave their tag titles to FinJuice. No.
Right. Is the okay.
Not to the level of, I mean, you're not giving it to.
Well, I think that's what the fans are asking, which is of Impact Wrestling. Is yes, they have a depth chart of guys, but how many of them are Impact Wrestling? Like, we could put Jonah here next. I would fucking love Jonah to be in this division. I like him DMC first, but that's long term if he's there. But tomorrow, could he win it and I'd be upset? Hell no. I'd cheer for that shit. But when reality sinks in and this guy isn't Impact player, does it lose its allure, I guess?
I mean, I don't think, like, when Kenny Omega was the Impact champion, I don't think it lost anything. Like, it's literally, you're talking one of the top 3 wrestlers in the world is your champion. Like, that's not bad. If AJ Styles came back, was still a WWE wrestler, and won the Impact Championship, then he's going to be like, oh God, no, I don't want that. No, people are going to shit themselves with excitement. Like, this isn't like some rando dude, Sammy Guevara, coming in and winning our title.
Look at that. Io's saying it right there in the chat. Unless Jay is signed, not a fan of crossover talent getting belts. So there's a lot of, for every person that thinks like us in this aspect, there's a lot that, and I understand that other side because I was that until not so recently, where I'm just like, who cares? But through my youth and into a little bit, even to my 30s, man, it's nothing to laugh about, of wanting your people on your show and hoping they stay there for the long term so you can invest in them. I get that 100%. It's not healthy for me because I just don't think Impact's there. So I think there's always going to be that divide with certain fans that want to say that guy is Impact through and through.
Like, to me, if you are going to be known as the company that works with everybody, has people from multiple other companies come in and work with you, letting these other people, like Deonna Purrazzo is currently AAA's women's champion and ROH's women's champion.
Right.
Like, if you're willing to work with these other companies and allow them to put their belts on your guys and your people. Mickie James is a NWA wrestler.
Yes.
She was our Knockouts champion. Did anybody care? No, because like that's the thing. Like, if you're willing to work with all these companies and have these guys like say, hey, we're willing to work with you, we'll send our guys over to you. It only makes sense to be like, hey, it's we're a wrestling promotion. We're gonna have
Yeah.
the best guys come into our wrestling promotion, and the best guys are gonna like storyline purpose wise.
Right.
We're gonna have the best guys come in. Those guys are gonna wrestle for titles, and they'll win them. Like it makes sense.
I get that, but I think the hope and the question is, when will it be time for Impact once they have the budget? Isn't it getting old that we get invested in someone and they're gone 6 months later? I think it's a fair question, but I think we can debate that.
And I
Let-
agree,
we got to
but-
move on to the
Okay.
knockouts. But I still think you named a good four that are at least permanently signed or currently signed long term to Impact Wrestling that are players for that heavyweight division or for that world champion men's division. All right, let's do the KOs really quick because I think this one's going to be rather quick. I think they have a deep roster, and it's not that the belt means less. It just means that it could go on anyone tomorrow, and we would not be upset, I think. I do want to just mention that because we're not going to get to the DMC today. We're going to do this knockup, so we're going to say goodbye. But we thank you. We love you guys. And, once again, one friend at a time, one fan at a time. Keep those numbers up. But if not, keep them steady. Thank you. And if you have anything, once again, write us on YouTube, write us at TNAIW channel. But let's get into the knockouts thing. But yes, the DMC, sorry. We're going to get the DMC, I think, because Cardona is holding it and what he's choosing to do with it, and they're being very careful who's holding it. It's not just being passed around. It's got a storyline since the get. I think in time, it can be our Intercontinental title, which then will test the person out to the audience if they can take that next step. If someone's the Intercontinental champion and they're not clamoring, the fan base isn't clamoring for them, heel or face, to be the next, take that next step, then they're not worthy. I always believe in that. I always believe in that. But the knockouts, here we go. We have Tasha, obviously, who is
the champion.
The champion. Where do you see the next four? And Mickey, yes, I get, but let's try to appease the people who say these are Impact.
Okay, so Chelsea Green.
Okay.
I mean,
do we think she's Impact though?
I mean, if we don't know, I think
Fair.
we've got to assume. Like,
okay, all right.
At that point, it's Tasha, and that's it, because we don't know who anybody is, and Rosemary. Those are your two people. So
who's our five right now?
So
most
Deonna Purrazzo.
Yeah, okay. There, now we're talking. There. I love you, Rosemary. She knows, but is she in the picture right now?
Jordynne Grace.
Fair. Yeah. She could win the heavyweight division, or the world's title. I don't give a shit.
I mean,
men's world title.
Madison and Tenille are a tag team, so they're not going to count. Inspiration or a tag team, they don't count. That's it.
So you think Deonna, Chelsea, Jordynne, and Tasha, you wouldn't the fringe of maybe a Lady Frost and starting here with that?
I mean,
Giselle Shaw, I don't think. I think she needs a little time.
I think Lady Frost and Giselle are two.
I mean, they're getting tested. But they're gonna face Deonna.
And I mean, maybe we'll see what happens. I still think they're too far out. Like, so
Masha, that's a good one.
Masha actually has to beat someone.
She has. The thing is, the question is who could win the title tomorrow? And you mentioned Macklin, so you can't say Macklin and not say Masha.
Macklin wrestled Moose.
Fair enough.
Masha wrestled Tiny Tina from down the street. Has she wrestled anybody decent?
I don't know. All right, so maybe we'll leave that one. So soon enough. Okay, yes. But I think that when you have a streak like that and it's believable and fun and people are behind it, there's no problem giving that person.
She's gonna be the one that beats Matt Cardona, by the way.
I mean, as long as the story is told beautifully. So even Chelsea is a little hard for me to swallow there. Mickey, I know we would put there as the Jay White of that division, right? Is that fair to, okay.
I think Chelsea, you have the potential of the storyline she's in now, where you could quickly have it ramp to where if she turns heel, she beats Mickey, and then she gets. So I mean, you kind of have like a quick.
Oh, is Kimber finally off the page? By the way,
she is.
Sarah. I thought I noticed that. Sue's coming up as well, but obviously Sue's pregnant.
I mean, she's got 15 different
characters on the roster page.
There, so
they got to fill that page somehow. All right. Well, we can fill this another time. But I think we could say we definitely have 4 in each division. I want to see what you guys think. Write us here in the YouTube comments. I know you do. I know you like it, and we love it. Or write us on TNAIW channel. Sorry we don't do a Twitter one, but you guys write a lot. And we love you all 3,328. Hey, each person at a time, as I always say, man. I appreciate it. Tune in to, once again, Talking Bloody Nonsense every Thursday, 4 p.m. Eastern, 9 p.m. BST. Obviously, Impact Wrestling, and then New Japan, all on one day in one company's atmosphere. That's awesome, man. The group, yeah, well, I have kids. Make sure you like, subscribe. We have a great team of people, of good-hearted, great people that work with us, and we're always looking for more. Look out for their shows. Look out for ours. And then, obviously, together we'll be having that family game rather soon, as well as LOL TNA on Tuesday, March 15th. Oh, this is coming up. It'll be really fun. We talk the Hogan era. We have some laughs. We have some stats even. We even brought somehow in the treehouse we got stats. It was a good talk. It's a fun time. And if you don't know the Hogan era, or you do, and you just we did it basically because we're 3 guys who just want to talk wrestling as Max and I do, just because, hey, this time, the times we live in, it's kind of hard to do so. But it helps to talk to other people and have a laugh at it. So if you're missing people, come watch us banter and make fun of ourselves. And check that out March 15th. That's what I'm trying to get at. All right. Max, you got anything you want to say before we...
Nope, I am good. I'm going to run real quick because my cats are freaking out at my door. So I will say later to everybody now and let Geoff close us out.
All right. So that being said, next... oh, yes, Tatia, good point. Anyone watching this... Oh, wait, it's Saturday, so it doesn't matter. If you're watching it live, make sure you set it from 2 to 3. We're losing an hour. But yeah. I can't break here.
Later, guys.
Bye, everybody. Goodbye.